Hey guys, Raid0AU and welcome back to my guide on Empyrion, and this is episode 4. So this one's going to be all about the hover vessel, and with that in mind what I've done is I have built a whole lot of stuff that we would need to make just a basic hover vessel. What you do need to do is I would look to get to level 5 before building a hover vessel, and the reason being that you would be looking to get at least the normal thrusters to provide some general propulsion on there. But you do need to come into your tech tree by pressing O on your keyboard and unlocking the items. Spotlight cube here, it's not essential. I always unlock it as soon as I can, only so I can add a couple of lights on the front of the hover vessel so I can see where I'm going. But it's not essential if you decide you don't want to do that. You do need a generator. You need a fuel tank, so you're going to need to unlock that. I've unlocked the oxygen tank, but it's not absolutely necessary. Weapons, probably not essential initially, but they are important, and we'll come to that. You need your thrusters and your RCS. RCS you have to have, and you need your thrusters. Otherwise you're not going to be able to do anything with it. You need a hover engine, otherwise you're not going to be able to make the starter block that you need for the hover vessel. So you have to unlock that. I've unlocked Cockpit 3 here because I hit level 5, only because I prefer the look of that one. Basically you don't need to unlock that one, you can just use Cockpit 1 if you want. I've also got another one which I can unlock here, but I'll go with Cockpit 3. I've unlocked the docking pads, but you don't need to unlock those. I'm not planning on docking this with anything at the moment, so that comes later when you're wanting to move it with, say, a capital ship or something like that. There's a few other things in here that you might want to add at some point at a later date, like a fridge so you can carry some food, or also if you go out there and you kill some stuff, you can throw the meat in the fridge so it doesn't perish. A small constructor can be useful, so if you're out there mining, basically what you can do is you can mine some ore, throw it in the small constructor, get it started in producing the ingots, and go off and mine somewhere else. O2 station, not overly important on this planet. If you were starting on Omicron, then absolutely you would need to make sure you had the oxygen with you. And that's really it on there. Now one thing I am going to just have a look at is I'm just going to unlock this work light here. And the only reason I'm doing that is I've got a feeling it might be a little bit dark outside. So we might need to use those just so we can have a bit of light while we're working. So what do we need? We need some metal components. Alright, I'm going to build 4 lights just so I can place them around. Now one thing that is important is when you're building anything in this game is to, if you look on the right hand side under placeable, it has SV, HV next to it. So I'm doing the fuel tank and the generator here. That means these can only be placed in a small vessel or a hover vessel, and it's important to take note of that because you don't want to be making the wrong thing. If you look at, say, the small generator, you'll see there it says CVBA in placeable. So that can only be placed in a capital vessel or a base. So you want to keep an eye on that to make sure you're building the item that you actually want, and that becomes important when it comes to RCSs because each individual type of vehicle has its own type of RCS. So you need to be making the appropriate one. The other thing is work lights. They're a little bit different. They have placeable T. They can only be placed on terrain. They can't be placed on any blocks or like a base or anything like that. So they can only be placed on the terrain. So for the basic hover vessel, you're going to need to make a hover vessel starter, and for that you need a hover engine, a core, and 8 hull blocks. So you go through it, and basically it's just a matter of crafting all the individual items. So you need a hover vessel starter. You're going to need some directional thrusters to control what direction you're going. You're going to need some normal thruster for some propulsion. You have to have a cockpit to be able to pilot it. You must have an RCS, otherwise you're not going to be able to turn the thing. As I said, I make a couple of spotlight cubes just to put on the front so I can see where I'm going. You have to have a generator to power the thing, and you need a fuel tank to power the generator. Apart from that, you need a few blocks. I've just made a few here. Don't know if we're going to need that many, but alright, let's head out and look at doing it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lights down, just so we got some, so we can see what we're doing. So maybe one there, one there, one there, and one there. That'll give us enough light. Okay. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put down your hover vessel starter. And it's just like similar to putting the base starter down. You just, as long as it's blue, it can be placed. There we go. Now you'll see here the core in the middle of it has this design on it, which is a bit like a triangle or an arrow pointing that way. And basically, what that says, what that's saying is that basically that's the direction that it's designed to go in. It's not a major thing. Basically, the number of times I've put cockpits on the wrong way round, I've lost count. It doesn't have any impact on the functionality of the vessel. The only thing it will do is basically it just means you need to remember that, and when you're looking at the map and you're in your hover vessel, the arrow basically will be pointing in the opposite direction to the direction you're moving. That's the only difference I can see with it. If anyone knows any different, please feel free to correct me on that. But yeah, that's the only thing I can see with that. Alright, so we just moved some items over. So next thing we're going to put on is our cockpit. So I'm going to place that on there. There we go. And then generally what I like to do is just go through and place some blocks. Now these are your standard hull blocks. These are the same things we use to build the base out of, and you see how big the blocks are when we're using it on a base. But when you use it on a vessel, on a small vessel or a hover vessel, basically it is just the normal size, a smaller size. If you're building a capital vessel, you'll find that it will be the bigger size again. So I'm just going to extend the end out here, or the back of it out. I'll do for starters. And first thing we're going to need to put on is our generator. Now I'm going to smack that right in the middle here. That's it. And I'm going to pop the RCS right behind it. There we go. Alright. Now we are going to want a thruster, and we're going to want some directional thrusters as well. So I'm just going to rotate that around. There we go. So we've got a thruster on it, and we're going to want directional thrusters. Going to want one there, and we're going to want one there. Now we're also going to want one right in the front. Oh, sometimes takes a bit of getting. There we go. Okay. So we've got our thrusters, we've got that. We need to put a fuel tank on. So that can just go next to the thruster there. And effectively, now we have a working hover vessel. If I go in here and I fuel that up, jump in. So T to enter the cockpit, Y to power it up. You can see there that it's not powered on at the moment. So Y to power it up. And we can move sideways, things like that. We can move forward and back. Now, when you're in the hover vessel, what I normally find is the easiest is to use third person view, and to do that you just press B on the keyboard and that'll take you outside. If you hold down the Alt key and use your mouse wheel, you can scroll in and out. So I normally go out to about there. Now, controls for your hover vessel, spacebar lifts it up, and you want to do that so that you don't hit too many things. Sometimes has a tendency to clip the ground and things like that. C goes back down, and then your controls are WASD. So W to go forward, S to go back, and slip side to side with the A and D keys. So as I said, that is basically that is a very basic hover vessel, workable hover vessel. Doesn't look very good at the moment, but yep, it's functional. So what I'd probably do then is, just to round things off, I'd probably just stick a couple of those on there. Maybe do the same up here. Do that, and grab these ones. Go there. They can go there. Goes there. We can go there. So it's a little bit rounded. Not too much. Might stick right at the back here. Like that. Like that. Now, if I was doing this as part of a normal playthrough, I would spend a bit more time designing it. I would probably I'd probably make it rounder on the sides, so it didn't, in an effort to try and make it not clip as much. But let's see, we can go there like that, and then we'll just put a couple of those in. Just like that. Now, what I do want to do is I want to actually put some of these up the top here. And the reason behind that is, so I'll just put it like that, just 3, is I want to add some protection. Now, what I would normally do is then I'd just break these ones out and put in standard square blocks. As I said, I'm doing this fairly quick on this one, just as a basic thing. So there. So that just means that the RCS and the generator are are protected a little bit. Now, did I make myself... Got a filler and flattener. Remove and repair tool. I didn't make myself I can't believe I didn't make myself a remove and repair tool. Also we didn't put our spotlights on. We'll do that in a moment. So I need 4 metal components for that. And we want to remove a repair tool. We'll make some remove and repair charges. You get 3 for each one, or the output. It takes a fuel pack and 10 metal pieces to make 3 of them. So, alright, remove and repair tool. So we've got that now. Surprised I hadn't already made that. It's a bit of an oversight on my part. I'll leave that to go. Alright, and the light's coming up. So what I would then do with a remove and repair tool, basically if you left click, you are removing stuff. So if I left click on this block, you'll see it deform. It would help if I actually put some, if I reload it. There we go. And you get 250 ammo for each of the charges. But you'll see there it deforms if I left click, and that's how I remove the blocks. If you right click with the remove and repair tool, it will repair. Like that. And you will need to repair your hover vessel from time to time because you will take damage from the terrain and various things. So it's worthwhile just... there we go, we just break those out and just put a block in there and a block in there. There we go. I'm not going to worry about this part at the back here. As I said, this is really just a very basic hover vessel, and the main reason that we're wanting a hover vessel at this stage is because we're wanting to explore the map to get to find resources, and this is the fastest way to do it. I was actually pretty lucky on this playthrough that, for this guide on this particular map, that I had quite a bit around me. I've got copper, cobalt, iron, promethium near me, but the one thing I don't have is magnesium. So let's hop back in there, power on, go back out to third person view. Now you see it's pretty ugly looking hover vessel, but hey, it's functional. It does what we need it to do. And so what we can do is we can head out with it and start looking for a magnesium deposit. Now while we're doing this, I'll just talk to you about the weapon side of things. Weapons, you do need to put some weapons on your, or you will need to put some weapons on your hover vessel eventually. The reason being that the drones love nothing more than to come along and start shooting up your hover vessel. Especially while you might be mining or something like that, and you'll suddenly hear something explode, and it'll be something exploding off of your hover vessel. I've had times when they've come along and basically what they've done is they've taken out the cockpit on the hover vessel, which means you can't pilot it. So then you got to start running all the way back. So weapons on your hover vessel are important for it to be able to defend itself against drones. It's important to set. What I would normally use on them is turrets. I would just use the hover vessel turret. I think it's a Gatling gun or something like that. And I'd be setting them to aliens, just so that they only attack aliens. You don't. Otherwise, what you'll find is as you're exploring around the map, it will start shooting at everything, and you're just wasting ammunition at that point. Yeah. So there's the edge of the map. And steering is just using the mouse with this. So, but you'll find if you put some turrets on, the successful ones that I've done in the past, what I've tended to do is I've tended to have one turret on the top and two turrets, one on each side. And I found that your hover vessel's able to hold its own at that point. Basically, you can be down mining or something like that, and it's able to take care of whatever it needs to. So, having much luck with this this magnesium at the moment, cobalt. And you'll see a panel on the right hand side there as we're in the hover vessel. It tells us how much power we're using at the moment, how much power we've got left. So I've got 222 minutes. So it's pretty efficient. Tells us our hover height. Hover vessels used to be an absolute nightmare to use because they used to get caught on everything, plants and all sorts. Alright. We might want to head back to our base just in case, because we haven't got a lot of ammunition. So I know my turret's got some. Actually, you see we've travelled a fair distance in a fairly short amount of time, so that's the reason that you're wanting to get this up, especially on somewhere like Akua, because you don't want to be running around exploring the whole planet. It'll take you forever. Where are we going? Yep, getting there. Coming into the daylight side of the planet. Oh, there's one of the plants that you can still get stuck on. So I reckon we're over near this cobalt deposit. Yep, there's our base there. Oh, and there's the drones. Drones are heading in. Alright. He might actually... I might have had just enough ammo to be able to take those out. But I could... Yep, I did. But I can tell you now, I don't have enough ammo to probably do another one. I need to find some magnesium. So... But that's good. That's good. Alright, so I'm just going to pop out. Might as well go and loot these. always loot drones when you get the opportunity. It'll save you a lot of resources and a lot of time as well, having to build all those. Just make sure we put our helmet on before we go underwater. You see all these items that we pick up here, that's going to save us a lot of time in building stuff, and a lot of resources. Let's pick that up while I'm here. Alright. Just jump back in. Back to third person view. I'm going to head back over to our base. Right, there we go. Power off. And out. And there we go, falling through the world. This is pre-alpha, so goodbye base, goodbye world. It is pre-alpha, and basically if this ever happens to you, I've had it happen a couple of times to me, basically you just need to reload, quit out and reload your game, and you'll find that it will reload in, but otherwise you'll just end up doing that. So we're falling. As I said, it is pre-alpha. I haven't had it happen very often. It does happen occasionally, the odd glitch. But luckily, that was we're coming to the end of the video. So there we have it for the hover vessel. As you can see, it's fairly easy to make. You can go on as elaborate as you want with it. That was just a very basic example. So yeah, so as I continue to float down through the abyss, I hope you've enjoyed what you've watched. If you have, please leave a like and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. I'm Raid 0AU, signing out.